You're not crazy. You're just exhausted from constantly being triggered by everything and everyone. But what if I told you it's not them, it's something deeper? Something inside you is calling out, not for control, but for healing. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how to stop getting angry, how to take back control, and finally, how to protect your peace, no matter what life throws your way. Chapter 1: The Hidden Trap That Keeps You Angry. Ever wonder why you get so angry sometimes? Why that one thing someone says just flips a switch inside you? Here's the truth. It's not really about them. It's not the words they said. It's not the tone. It's not even what they did. It's the pattern you've unknowingly been living in. See, we all carry these emotional wires inside us. Old ones, from childhood, from rejection, from people who made us feel small. And when someone today steps on those same wires, boom, anger, instant, deep. But that anger, it's not new, it's not fresh, it's recycled. You're not just reacting to this moment, you're reacting to every moment before it that felt the same. You feel disrespected now? Maybe it's echoing the time no one listened to you. You feel unseen today? Maybe it's the same ache from when you were always overlooked. And that's the trap. We think this person made us mad, but really, they just touched an old wound. Here's the scary part. If you don't see the pattern, you repeat it. You keep snapping, shutting down, or blowing up. And later, you sit with guilt, wondering, why did I react like that? But here's the hope. Once you see the pattern, you can break it. You can catch yourself before the explosion. You can say, wait, this isn't really about them. This is about me, about something deeper. And that right there is how you start healing. Because anger, when you slow it down, isn't just rage. It's a clue, a message from the past, a part of you saying, I've been hurt here before. So, what do you do with that? How do you respond when you get triggered starts to rise inside, not out? We'll talk about that in the next chapter. Chapter 2: The Real Reason You Get Triggered. Let's be real. When someone says or does something that triggers you, it feels instant, right? Like a flash of heat, a rush of adrenaline, a voice inside screaming, how dare they? But here's the twist most people never talk about. Anger isn't the first emotion. It's the bodyguard. It shows up to protect something much softer, hiding underneath. See, when you feel hurt, when you feel scared, when you feel rejected, ignored, or powerless, anger steps in and says, I got this. Let's fight back. That's why your anger feels so intense. It's not just about what's happening. It's about what's hurting. Imagine a fire alarm going off, loud, urgent. That's your reaction. But the smoke, that's the real issue. And if you never look for the smoke, you'll keep getting triggered by every alarm. Ask yourself, what's really bothering me right now? Is it disrespect? Is it fear? Is it feeling like I'm not enough? When you start digging, you realize most triggers aren't threats. They're reminders of moments you never fully healed from. Someone interrupts you, and suddenly you feel invisible. Someone criticizes you, and your chest tightens with shame. But when you notice that pattern, you reclaim control. You get to pause. You get to respond instead of react. And that's emotional freedom. Not stuffing it down, not lashing out, just naming what's real. Because once you name it, it starts to lose its grip. And the people who used to trigger you, they no longer hold that power. But how do you hold on to that awareness when the moment is hot, when your heart's racing, and the old habits want to take over? That's what we're unlocking in the next chapter. Chapter 3: How to Control the Storm Inside You. You know that split second before you explode? That moment where your heart's racing, your fists are tight, and your mind's screaming, say something, do something. That's the storm. And here's the truth. That tiny moment right there, it's the most powerful moment of your life, because it's the space between reaction and response, between making it worse or making it better, between losing control or owning it. Most people don't even notice that space. They skip it. Their brain fires, and their mouth follows. Boom, words fly, doors slam. Regret shows up minutes later. But If you can catch that moment, just for a second, you change everything. Here's how you do it. Step 1. Breathe. Not just inhale, exhale. Slow it down. Feel your chest rise. Hear your breath. Even one deep breath can calm your nervous system faster than you think. Step 2. Name the feeling. Say it in your head. I feel disrespected. I feel scared. I feel like I'm not being heard. Naming it pulls you out of the chaos and back into control. Step 3. Ask yourself, what outcome do I actually want? To be right? To hurt them back? Or to stay in control and protect your peace? When you ask that, you shift from reacting out of pain to acting out of purpose. And listen, this isn't about being passive. It's about being intentional. It's not weakness. It's wisdom. You're not avoiding the storm. You're learning how to stand in the middle of it without letting it drown you. So, what happens when you start doing this every time? When every trigger becomes an opportunity instead of an explosion? Well, that's when you become someone completely different, and you'll feel it in the way you speak, in the way you carry yourself. But the world won't hand you peace. You have to build it. And in the next chapter, I'll show you how. Chapter 4. Becoming emotionally untouchable. When nothing they say can shake your peace. Imagine this. Someone tries to get under your skin. They roll their eyes, say something sarcastic. Maybe they raise their voice, just enough to bait you. And you don't flinch. You don't fire back. You don't even feel the need to prove anything. Why? Because you've built something they can't touch. Your peace. See, emotional strength isn't about always being calm. It's about knowing what's worth your energy and what's not. Let's be honest, most of the people who trigger us, they're not monsters. They're just mirrors, reflecting our unhealed stuff, testing what we've learned, prodding our boundaries, just to see if we'll break. But when you know who you are, when you've done the work, their noise becomes background. You don't have to yell. You don't have to defend yourself. You just stand still while their storm passes. Because you've realized something most people never do. Not every opinion deserves a reaction. Not every insult requires a war. Sometimes, the strongest move is no move at all. It doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care more about your growth than their approval. You stop chasing validation. You stop letting little words ruin big parts of your day. You stop being emotionally available to chaos. And suddenly, you're not just reacting less. You're living freer. But here's the real test. How do you keep that peace when the pressure gets personal? When the hurt is deep? When it's not just a stranger, but someone close? That's where the next chapter takes us. Because not reacting is powerful, but responding with intention, that's where transformation begins. Chapter 5. The Art of Not Reacting. Let me ask you something. Have you ever said something in the heat of the moment and then regretted it the second it left your mouth? Yeah, we all have. Because when emotions run high, logic runs out the door. But here's the truth that most people miss. You don't have to react to everything. You don't have to clap back. You don't have to prove your point. You don't have to win. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do, say nothing at all. Because silence isn't you giving up. It's you choosing peace over ego. It's you deciding, this battle, not worth it. Most people confuse noise with strength, but strength is staying calm when chaos is loud. It's hearing the insult and not letting it touch your self-worth. It's recognizing the trap and refusing to step into it. Here's the strategy behind silence. It creates space. Space to think, space to observe, space to choose the right response instead of the fast one. When you don't react, you stay in control. When you don't react, you protect your energy. When you don't react, you leave room for clarity. And guess what? That pause, that stillness, it speaks louder than anger ever could. It says, I know who I am. I don't need to shout it. Now, I'm not saying you stay silent forever. I'm saying you respond on your terms, not theirs. But what do you do when silence doesn't feel enough? When someone keeps pushing and every part of you wants to snap? How do you hold the line without losing yourself? That's where we're headed next. Chapter 6. Reclaim the power you keep giving away. Here's a hard truth no one wants to hear. You've been handing your power away. Every time you let someone's words ruin your mood, every time you let their opinion shape your worth, every time you let their anger become your anger, that's not strength, that's surrender. And I get it. You don't do it on purpose. It happens slowly. A comment here, a look there, until one day, you're carrying emotions that don't even belong to you. But here's what no one teaches us. Emotional freedom doesn't come from controlling others. It comes from not letting them control you. The moment you decide, I'm in charge of how I feel, everything changes. Because guess what? People are going to judge you. They're going to misunderstand you. Some might even try to bring you down on purpose. But their behavior, that's their story, not yours. You can't control their words, but you can control whether those words take root in your mind. And that choice, that's your power. You take it back when you stop over-explaining. You take it back when you stop chasing validation. You take it back when you realize you don't owe anyone your peace. Imagine this. Someone says something rude, and instead of spiraling into anger, shame, or self-doubt, you smile, you breathe, you move on. Not because it didn't sting, but because you chose not to carry it. That's real freedom, and it's yours. The moment you stop outsourcing your worth. But what happens when you've done all of this, and the anger still lingers? The pain still hums beneath the surface? What if this isn't about others anymore, but about you? Let's talk about that in the final chapter. Chapter 7. You're not angry, you're awakening. Transform your pain into personal power. What if your anger was never the enemy? What if it's not something to get rid of, but something to listen to? Because behind every sharp reaction is a story, a scar, a moment where you felt helpless, unheard, or unloved. And anger, it's the fire that rises when the hurt has stayed silent for too long. But here's the shift. You're not broken. You're waking up to your patterns, your wounds, your boundaries, your worth. This isn't the end of you losing control. It's the beginning of you taking your life back. You're starting to see things for what they really are. You're slowing down. You're breathing through the chaos. You're choosing your response instead of reacting on autopilot. And that choice, that's strength. That's growth. That's awakening. Because anger, when healed, becomes clarity. It becomes self-respect. It becomes the voice inside that says, no more. No more giving your energy to people who don't deserve it. No more letting old pain. Write your new story. No more being a prisoner to your emotions. You're not cold, you're not numb. You just finally understand. That peace doesn't come from the outside. It's something you build inside yourself. So next time that fire rises, pause. Not to shut it down, but to ask, what is this really trying to tell me? Because now, you know how to hear it. Now, you know how to hold it without being consumed by it. You've done something most people never do. You've stepped into your power, not the loud kind, the unshakable kind. And that's not just healing, that's transformation. Welcome to your new self.